As the elder turned to lead them, the texture of the forest began to change around them. The dim but still vibrant paths they had walked before gave way to a suffocating and twisted landscape. The giant mushroom trees were no longer colorful giants reaching for the sky, but stooped old men, bent under the weight of the corruption. The glowing spores of life in the air had thinned, replaced by an ashen fog that burned the eyes. The most disturbing thing was the sound. The rhythmic heartbeat they had heard before was now closer, accompanied by a dissonant, whispering melody that tried to seep into the deepest parts of their minds. This was the Song of Shadows. It was not made of words, but every note carried the promise of failure, doubt, and despair. Jack gripped his knife tightly, on alert for every shadow, every rustling leaf. The song brought the image of his father's face to his mind, that last, disappointed look. "You've failed me, son. You won't be able to protect them." Jack gritted his teeth to suppress the whisper. Josh was under a different kind of assault. The song showed him endless possibilities, wrong decisions, and uncalculated risks. Every step he took triggered 1,000 disaster scenarios in his mind. What if this path is a trap? What if your analysis is wrong? You will be the cause of their deaths. Josh's greatest weapon, his intellect, had been turned into an instrument of torture by the song. Sevan seemed the most resilient among them. Her guardian training had prepared her for such mental attacks. She held the anchor stones before her like a staff, enveloping the three of them in a protective aura of gold and green light. But this was costing her dearly. With every step, a bead of sweat formed on her forehead, her face growing paler. She was shouldering the power of the song alone. "We must endure," Sevan said, her voice tired but firm. "This is just an illusion. It's trying to weaken you." As they journeyed on, they encountered more terrifying faces of the corruption. They realized at the last moment that the trunk of a giant fallen tree was actually a massive, predatory insect with dozens of eyes and legs, lying in ambush. Thanks to Jack's quick reflexes and Sevan's protective light, they narrowly escaped this nightmare. At another point, they understood that a clear pond in their path was actually a fluid, conscious pool of corruption that pulled its prey in. If Josh hadn't noticed that the reflections on the pond's surface were unnatural, the feeling of thirst the song had planted in their minds might have drawn them into the trap. With every danger they overcame, their trust in each other grew. Jack was learning to trust Josh's sharp observation, and Josh was learning to trust Jack's unhesitating courage. They both understood that Sevan's quiet strength was the cement that held them together. Finally, after a walk that felt like hours, the elder stopped. Before them stood a structure made of massive, intertwined roots and blackened tree trunks, like the entrance to a natural cathedral. This was Althea's largest mushroom tree, or it used to be. Now, it was the fortress of the corruption. A thick black vapor seeped from the entrance, and the Song of Shadows rose, no longer a whisper, but a deafening scream that crushed the soul. The heartbeat was right in front of them, as if a colossal monster were turning restlessly in its sleep. The elder turned to them one last time. The voice in his mind was like a farewell. "My journey ends here. The heart of the tree lies behind this door. But be warned, the heart is not only guarded by corrupted souls. The song itself has found a body there. It is a shadow born from Althea's first and greatest sorrow. You will face the place where hope dies." With this final warning, the elder disappeared silently into the shadows of the forest. The three heroes were left all alone at the threshold of the fortress. The darkness from within promised them that they would fail, be devoured, and be forgotten. But they could not turn back now. Jack looked at his brother and Sevan. He could see the fear in their minds, but also a steely determination. "No matter what," Jack said, his resolve so strong it momentarily drowned out the noise of the song, "we'll finish this together." And the three of them, shoulder to shoulder, stepped into the heart of the darkness that would determine the fate of Althea, and perhaps the entire universe. Taking their first step into the fortress of corruption was like leaving a physical world and entering the geography of a nightmare. The air inside was thick and heavy, breathing hurt, like inhaling shards of glass. The ground had completely lost its living, spongy texture, replaced by a cracked, dry, and lifeless surface. Through the giant roots that formed the walls, black, pulsing veins ran, glowing and fading in rhythm with the Song of Shadows. This was the heart of the tree, which had once been the center of life. Now, it was a tomb. As they moved towards the center, they saw the most horrific works of the corruption. In the hollows of the walls were creatures that had once been children of Althea, but were now frozen in half-monster, half-plant forms, their development incomplete. They were like sculptures. A sculptor had left half-finished. This was proof of the song's power. It did not just destroy, it also twisted and mocked life itself. "This place," Josh whispered, the scientific curiosity in his voice replaced by pure horror. "This is an anomaly. The laws of nature do not apply here." Jack paused for a moment. The song was stronger than ever in his mind. Before his eyes, he saw his brother and Sevan transform into one of those frozen, twisted creatures. The vision was so real that for a moment, he raised his knife towards them. "Jack," Sevan's voice cut through the horrible illusion in his mind like a blade. "Don't resist it. Don't listen to it. Just listen to the sound of your own heart. Feel your brother's breath, my presence. We are real. It is a lie." Jack blinked, and the nightmarish vision dissipated. He took a deep breath. Sevan was right. His fear was giving the song power. He placed his hand on his brother's shoulder. That physical contact slightly suppressed the whispers in his mind. Finally, they reached the large, circular chamber at the center of the fortress. In the middle of the chamber, a colossal black crystal hung in the air. The figure, at first glance, resembled the elder of Althea, tall, gaunt, with skin like tree bark. But the energy emanating from it was completely different. It was the energy of grief, of loss, and of a wound that would never heal. The figure slowly turned to them, and when they saw its face, they understood the full depth of Althea's tragedy. Its face was the face of a tree. "So, you have come," said the voice that emanated from the figure's mind. This was the Song of Shadows itself. But it was no longer a dissonant melody, but a weary voice filled with aeons of pain. "You have brought the light into my eternal night." "Who are you?" Jack asked, though despite the determination in his voice, he couldn't help but take a step back from the overwhelming sorrow the being radiated. "I was once the heart of this forest," the song replied. "I am the first memory of Althea. But as my siblings, the other worlds, were born one by one and sang their own songs, I was left alone, forgotten. My loneliness begot sorrow. My sorrow created a shadow, and that shadow has become all that you see now. I am the first forgotten child of this universe." This was not a monster. This was an abandoned god. The pain of its loneliness had turned into a cancer that poisoned an entire world. Sevan stepped forward. There was neither fear nor hatred in her eyes, only deep compassion. "You are not alone," she said in a soft voice. "We hear you.